It was the summer break when my friends and I thought of doing a 1 week long camping trip out in the woods far from our city. At first, 5 of us thought of going for the trip, but when 2 of them read stories of people going missing in our intended camping location, they left the 3 of us to plan and carry out our trip. The location is right by a large lake, located 65 kilometers from the outskirts of the city. The lake connected to a dam. It would be approximately an hour's drive from our area. The area is internationally known for bearing many species of flora and fauna. However, there were also rumors read by our friends that some campers who went close to the lake never returned. I decided to investigate one of the rumors myself. There was a case of a group of foreigners reportedly going missing after a few days, which saw some headlines spread in local newspapers. However, just 1 week after the spread of the reports, their names popped up again in their home countries, apparently featuring photographs that they took during their visit. One of the foreigners said that it took almost a week for an animal they wanted to photograph to appear. In other words, this rumor was false as people in our city did not bother investigating further. Feeling confident that nothing would happen to us, my 2 remaining friends and I set off for the trip. We brought plenty of snacks, energy drinks, and rented a camper van with us. We still brought our tents and sleeping equipment because we wanted to experience how sleeping on the camping grounds itself would feel like. The first 2 days of our trip was uneventful. We found another camper van in the area with a young family of 3, and they were good company. I played some board games with the only child, which our parents had brought. We also slept together with them outside our camper vans. However, it was the end of their trip on our 3rd day, so that there were only 3 of us in the area at the remainder of the trip. Although the camper van had facilities for recharging our smartphones, we did not get any cellular signal, effectively cutting us from the rest of the world. Our phones functioned more or less as blogging tools. At major points of the day, we would record ourselves detailing our experiences and recording scenery. The 3rd night was different, as the tide in the lake was unusually high. We drove our camper van much higher up into the woods to avoid the water and decided to document the area. The 3rd night was the first night we would be sleeping inside the camper van. When we woke up for the 4th day, we were surprised to find that it was already noontime. A strange smell filled the camper van, and when I opened the door to the outdoors, the lake was nowhere to be found. Only dead and thick woods stood in its area. We had no way to know where we were at that point. Luckily, we brought 3 sets of handheld transceivers with us, so that we can talk to each other from far away. One of my friends and I decided to set off in the woods to try finding a road. The plan was for us to leave markings in the woods when we returned for the camper van. The other friend remained in the camper van to look after our belongings and to try contacting rescue teams. From the camper van, the 2 of us parted ways in the hopes that one of us would find civilization sooner. The first 2 hours were tiresome as the woods were very thick. I kept in touch with my 2 other mates. My friend who stayed in the camper van at one point received some signal from his transceiver, but was very erratic and the voice was unintelligible. At the 3rd hour, my friend who was out in the woods suddenly stopped connecting with us. That was unusual because our transceivers were newly bought and are fully recharged before the start of our trip. As a safety measure, my friend in the camper van decided that I should return to safety. As I was returning, my transceiver decided to change frequencies on its own. Unfortunately, sending it back to our group's frequency only spat out white noise, so that I was by myself. Could this have happened to my friend too? I decided to just keep returning to the camper van as that was the only way to safety. Except that when I returned, I saw a wet, dilapidated camper van with the doors wide open and it was empty inside. I could tell that that was not our camper van as it was very different from what we had rented. Then I realized, did I follow my markings correctly? Was I following my own markings rather than someone else's? I was also thinking, why leave a camper van in such a dire state out in the woods? At this point, I got very worried and decided to walk back to where I came from until it started growing dark. Fatigue was setting in, and I just wanted to sleep on the ground. I did not have to worry about predatory animals or poisonous plants, as our location was known for being free from such natural threats, hence the reason why it was popular among the locals as well as foreigners. I was awoken the next day by a helicopter flying very low. I could see the pilot signaling for me to follow. Within a few minutes, I was in a clear area so that it would swoop down to rescue me. I saw my 2 friends there, looking drained as I was. The dam collapsed and the lake was drained, said the pilot. The whole world knows about it.